That was Ron Howard in 1988. He had gone from a beloved child star to the director's chair, crafting films that defined a decade. But that year, one project threatened to unravel everything. It wasn't the budget, the studio politics, or even the script that nearly broke him. It was a person, a woman at the center of the storm. What began as collaboration turned into tension, clashing egos, and chaos behind the scenes that left marks Howard still feels today. What really happened on that set? Why does he still look back with a twinge of regret? Let's uncover a story Hollywood tried to bury. Before the fame, before the Oscars, before Happy Days, there was a small-town boy from Duncan, Oklahoma. Born on March 1st, 1954, Ron Howard grew up in a family already steeped in show business. His father, Rance, was a director, writer, and actor. His mother, Jean, was an actress. The Howards weren't just a Hollywood family. They were born for this world. Even a name change from Beckenhold to Howard in 1948 set the stage for the next generation. Young Ron's life was anything but ordinary. His father was serving in the Air Force, yet the pull of storytelling shaped every moment. Cameras, sound stages, scripts, it was all playground and classroom combined. Between Duluth Studios and schools in Burbank, he learned lines, math, and history. But most of all, he learned how stories came alive. From a very young age, Howard was drawn behind the camera. Acting wasn't the goal. It was a lens through which he could create entire worlds. His first credited role at age 5 in The Journey opened doors. Shows like The Twilight Zone, Dennis the Menace, and Cheyenne followed. He wasn't just cute. He was disciplined, focused, and sharp, qualities most adults struggled to master. Then came 1960. 5-year-old Ronnie stepped into television history as Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show. That role defined his childhood and gave him a masterclass in storytelling. He remembered being fixated on a toy turtle during his first scene, pretending it was dead. Andy Griffith guided him with patience, turning that small moment into magic. That day, Howard realized storytelling was more than lines. It was truth, emotion, and connection. The Andy Griffith Show was pure, warm, and comforting, a love letter to simpler times. The cast became household names. Andy as a father everyone wished for, Don Knotts as a comic relief, Francis Bavier as a heart, and then there was Ron, the curious kid who anchored it all. Emmy nominations came, but the show's legacy wasn't in trophies. It was timeless. Lessons in patience, leadership, and heart were learned quietly, preparing him for the journey ahead. That small boy from Duncan wasn't just playing Opie Taylor. He was learning how to move the world with stories. Years later, the industry that had nurtured him would test him. From Happy Days to directing, he transitioned from America's favorite redhead, Richie Cunningham, to a filmmaker with vision. Early roles like Love American Style led to Happy Days, where his charm balanced Henry Winkler's Fonzie. 6 seasons later, Howard walked away, not from pride, but purpose. He had directing ambitions, already tested with Grand Theft Auto in 1977, and quietly honed his craft on TV movies like Skyward. By 1982, Night Shift turned heads. Then Splash in 1984 launched Tom Hanks and cemented Howard's talent behind the camera. Cocoon in 1986 proved he could balance imagination and emotion. But 1988's Willow became a crucible. Produced by George Lucas, it was meant to be epic, but behind-the-scenes chaos, creative clashes, and exhausting pressure tested him like never before. It eventually found its cult following, but the experience left scars. Howard bounced back with Parenthood, a heartfelt hit that earned over $100 million and 2 Oscar nominations. The 1990s cemented his reputation. Backdraft, A Beautiful Mind, Oscar-winning brilliance. His streak of hits never slowed. He experimented with comedy in Arrested Development, tackled blockbusters with The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, and brought true-life drama to life in 13 Lives. Netflix tapped him for animation and survival thrillers, proving that curiosity and storytelling never fade. Through it all, one constant remained: Cheryl Howard, the woman who stood by him. From a curious boy in Mayberry to an Oscar-winning director, Ron Howard's journey has been anything but predictable. Every triumph, every lesson, every story told carries a heartbeat of that small-town boy who never stopped chasing the next great story. Would you like me to now refine this further into a version optimized specifically for YouTube, with punchy hooks and viewer retention triggers woven into every line? Ron Howard didn't just rise through Hollywood on talent alone. He had someone quietly shaping his world beside him. Cheryl, his anchor, his muse, the quiet strength that kept him grounded. Their story started long before fame or Oscars. High school in Burbank, California. Two teenagers, unaware of how far life would take them. By November 1st, 1970, he took her on their first date, a re-release of it, A Mad, 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 Mad World, followed by Pizza at Barnum, a place that's now gone, but still alive in memory. 50 years later, they celebrated that day again, in the same 1970 Volkswagen Bug, still running, just like their love. Cheryl didn't say yes right away. Bryce Dallas Howard once shared on the Drew Barrymore show that her dad proposed 3 times. Cheryl wanted to finish school, take her time. That independence didn't weaken them. It made their bond stronger. 5 years later, in 1975, they married in Burbank, surrounded by family, friends, and even Ron's on-screen dads, Andy Griffith and Tom Bosley. Half a century later, Ron reflects there was never anyone else. Cheryl's support, their compatibility, endured everything life threw at them. Communication, hard conversations, and a touch of luck. That's what he credits for their marriage. Cheryl became a quiet presence in Ron's films, even from his earliest days. Small cameos, blink and you miss it moments, his personal good luck charm. Howard's superstition ensured she was in every movie, even appearing as herself in Arrested Development. Together they raised 4 children, Bryce, twins Paige and Jocelyn, and Reed. Creative streak runs in the family. Bryce became a star in Jurassic World and a director in the Mandalorian universe. Paige followed acting paths. Reed became a professional golfer and innovator. Jocelyn maintains privacy, but joins the family in public life. All 4 siblings even appeared as themselves on Arrested Development, keeping the Howard legacy alive. Now, Ron and Cheryl are proud grandparents. Bryce is Theodore and Beatrice with Seth Gable. Reed and his wife Ashley welcomed Aspen Lee. And in 2020, little Elodie Vivian arrived, the 6th grandchild. Paige married Tim Abu Nazer, and Jocelyn is believed to have 3 children of her own. Their love hasn't just endured, it has expanded, caring for a family of artists and dreamers. From a high school date in a VW Bug to a life of creativity and devotion, they built something rare in Hollywood, a real, lasting marriage. But even Howard's calm presence in Hollywood wasn't untouched by controversy. He's a guy you think of when you hear clean storytelling. Far from scandal, yet 2011 proved even he could stumble. The Dilemma was supposed to be a comedy. Instead, it became a creative and PR nightmare. Critics tore it apart. Box office numbers flopped. And it wasn't just a film, it was a single line in the trailer that lit a firestorm. Vince Vaughn's character quipped, "Electric cars are G, not homosexual G, but my parents are chaperoning the dance G." That throwaway joke exploded nationally. CNN's Anderson Cooper condemned it on live TV. Online outrage spread like wildfire. Universal tried to recut the trailer, but the line remained in the movie. Howard didn't back down. He acknowledged sensitivity matters, but refused to erase the line, insisting censorship wasn't the answer. He saw the backlash as disproportionate, a stand-in for decades of Hollywood jokes far worse. Even at his breaking points, Howard stayed true to his voice, balancing creativity, integrity, and a quiet defiance that defined his career. Cheryl was there through it all, not just as a partner, but as a steadying presence, a living reminder that even in chaos, some things endure. If you want, I can now rewrite this entire segment into a punchy, fully YouTube-ready script with hooks, retention beats, and emotional cues for every paragraph, so viewers stay glued to the screen. Do you want me to do that next? Ron Howard has always been known as Hollywood's calm, steady hand, the guy you think of when you hear clean storytelling. But even he wasn't immune to moments that tested his patience and principles. Take The Dilemma in 2011. One throwaway line in a trailer sparked outrage. CNN covered it, social media exploded, and Universal scrambled to contain it. Howard explained it wasn't about his beliefs, it was about showing something true about the character. No one imagined a single line would define the movie. Still, for someone so used to avoiding controversy, it was a shock. Fortunately, the movie bombed, the noise faded, and life moved on. But controversy isn't the only thing Howard has faced. Years earlier, during Happy Days, he almost walked away from one of television's most beloved shows. When it premiered in 1974, Richie Cunningham was a wholesome center of teenage life, but by season 3, Fonzie had taken over the spotlight. The producers even wanted to rename the show Fonzie's Happy Days. Howard understood why Winkler's charisma revitalized the series, but he made one thing clear. If the title changed, he would quit, not out of jealousy, but principle. The show's magic was in its ensemble, and turning it into a one-man spotlight felt wrong. Luckily, Gary Marshall and Henry Winkler agreed. The name stayed, the show thrived, and Howard's integrity preserved the chemistry that made it iconic. These moments, one on a comedy set and one in public backlash, reveal the same thing about Howard. He chooses integrity over easy wins. That commitment would be tested again behind the camera as he transitioned from actor to director. His early hit splash in Cocoon looked effortless on screen, but behind the scenes, he was navigating pressure and experience and egos, managing big-name actors. Keeping sets functional and maintaining his own vision felt like coaching a team where every player had a mind of their own. Wilford Brimley on Cocoon was particularly challenging, stubborn, improvisational, raw, but Howard turned that tension into depth for the film. By the time Willow came around in 1988, Howard had faced his toughest challenge yet: creative clashes, production chaos, and the pressure of living up to expectations nearly broke him. He's admitted that it remains the one project from that era he regrets, a reminder that even Hollywood's nicest guy has had to fight through storms. But those early battles splash, Cocoon, Willow shaped him. They taught him leadership, patience, and how to craft stories that resonate far beyond the screen. Today, his legacy is undeniable. Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Frost/Nixon, films that define him as one of Hollywood's most respected directors. But behind every triumph is a fire of those early struggles, the lessons learned in chaos, and the unwavering integrity that carried him through. Do you think Ron Howard ranks among Hollywood's greatest directors? Which of his films is your favorite? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen, and you're going to love it.